Hey guys, welcome back to Tracks and Tires. Today I'm going to be hoisting up the Toyota 4Runner up on the hoist to look underneath it for possible things that it will need for a safety inspection here in Ontario. So yeah, let's go ahead, put it up on the hoist, check it all out and over, and then I actually ordered a few things that I already know that it needs. So yeah, we'll go there, start changing out some parts, and we'll see how it goes. So one of the first things that I noticed when driving it is you can actually feel the rear end moving back and forth when you accelerate and decelerate, especially under a little bit of coasting and braking. And what I've found is there's some, they call them lower control arms in the back, and the bushings are shot out of them. It's allowing the rear diff to move back and forth, and that affects my steering in the front end and everything. So I bought a couple new ones, and I'll show you the bushings right now so you know what I'm talking about. These are the lower control arms in the rear. They go to the bottom of the diff and then they come up and attach to the frame right under here. My bushings are so shot out of them, it actually allows them to move back and forth. It's kind of hard to see, but they're just hidden in behind here. The bushing is supposed to be almost a dampening part of the suspension, and because it's worn out, my whole rear diff just moves back and forth under braking and acceleration. These are the lower ones, but you can also look out for the upper rear control arms, and they are just above the diff here in the back. And I checked those bushings and they look okay, but I actually ordered another set of those. I won't have them in for about a week now. And while I was under here, I checked the rear sway bar bushings and rear sway bar end links, and they look fine. So that's good. It's got some decent rear shocks on it. You can tell they were changed a while ago. They're actually not that rusty, and I felt them when I was driving and they were warm, so that's how you know the fluid is actually still in them and working properly. My coils, you always check the coils over to make sure that they're not broken. So I check these ones out, and yes, they are rusty, but no, they're not broken in any way. While you're under here checking rear suspension components, I would definitely recommend checking this rear drag link. It also has bushings like the ones I was talking about in the front, but mine seem fine, and for the cost of one, there's no point in me replacing it if there's nothing wrong with it. Maybe in the future, but not right now. I also inspected, these are my rear parking brake cables. They work great, but one of the bolts, it seemed, was worn out, so I installed a new one I made here. It's just a little pivot point, and I lubed it all up, so that allows my park brake to work properly on both sides. Always inspect your frame for rust holes, especially on these Toyotas. It's the best thing to do is just check them all over and make sure that there's no holes. I haven't found any yet on mine, but that can mean life or death for one of these old Toyotas. Lots of them look good from far away, but they'll actually have big holes underneath them, so just be careful if you're going to buy one. Here's my new rear lower control arms. One thing to do whenever getting parts in new, take them out and compare them to your old ones to make sure that they are the exact fit. I just compare these ones and they are the exact same. So I'm just going to go and get ready to install them right now. Here's the part number. Both the left hand and the right hand side are the exact same. So if you have to order one, don't be afraid. Just use this number right here. I got these ones from Part Source. Yeah, and they were a good deal too. Definitely worth replacing them for a big safety item. So I went and got myself a 19mm wrench and a 19mm impact socket for the impact gun. And I'm going to begin removing these rear lower control arms. Wow, did you see that amount of play in the driver's side one? That's where I could really feel it when I was accelerating. It's actually bad enough I could pull this whole bushing piece out of the rubber. It's crazy. Now, what I did, and I'd recommend anyone else doing, is you just replace one at a time. That way you don't end up messing up the angle of the rear diff, and it might end up being more difficult to install them if you remove both. So I did one at a time. I just have to install this one side here now, and then I'll be all done. Use lots of never sees, so then hopefully by next time you do it, if ever, you can easily get the bolts out. I had a little bit of problems with mine, a little bit of rust on the bolts, but nothing I couldn't handle. Wow, now check that out, like brand new. With all that never sees and everything on there, they should last a lifetime. Now that I'm all done and happy with how the rear end turned out, I'm going to start on the front end. I just greased all the U-joints and checked over the U-joints in the driveline. Everything feels fine, and they actually look original, which is really cool considering like it's 23 years old. Toyota builds quality stuff. So yeah, I'm just going to check over the front end right now, and definitely going to check out the bottom ball joints, because everyone says that these bottom ball joints on the front, they seem to snap or fall out. So yeah, I definitely don't want that happening. So we're going to check them for play and looseness, and check the upper ones too. Well, that's super lucky. I just checked over this whole front end and I couldn't find any problems. The tie rods were tight, the bushings for the steering was all tight, the diff bushings are tight, my upper and lower ball joints are tight, the inner tie rods are tight. Yeah, and I even checked over the brakes while I was at it. There's nothing wrong with my brakes. They're actually still at about 50 to 60% life, and the rotors look fantastic. The struts don't leak, and I actually looked at them. It says Japan Toyota on them. So there's even a chance that they are original. The truck rides good when you're driving it. So yeah, I'd say there's pretty much nothing to worry about in this front end. Something to think about though is in the long run, I'm still considering buying those lower ball joints, because running the risk of your whole wheel assembly falling off when you're going around a corner or just hitting a light bump is not really worth it for me. So yeah, long term, probably gonna buy some new lower ball joints. Now it's just time to look over a couple other things on the Toyota. I'm probably gonna fix the fuel tank door right now, and maybe paint some of these little wheel caps. Yeah, come check it out. I had some people in the comments mention how I had I guess some coins from Costa Rica in the cup holders here. So while I was cleaning it, I found them. So there's actually some other interesting coins here. So we'll go through them right now, just for fun. So yeah, I got a 100 colonies coin. I guess people in the comments said it's from Costa Rica. Liberty dollar. I guess this is like a United States $1 coin. I didn't even know they made those. 20 euro cents. A 50 colonies coin. These are all pence. I don't know where that's from. 10 pence. So I got 30 pence. A Canadian loonie. Yeah, and then just a bunch of other random here, US nickels and dimes and a couple more loonies and everything. But yeah, that's just all the stuff I found in my cup holders. Well, look at that, good as new. Did you know, if anyone ever tells you that something isn't fixable, it just means that they're not skilled enough to fix it themselves. Prove them wrong, do it yourself. Come on, guys, you can fix anything. So now that I put this gas tank door on, I realized I was like, well, how do you even like open and close it? So I seen there's this piece here. It looks like this is pre-spring loaded. You go inside the truck here and you pull a handle just down here. It's got a cable on it, and that cable is supposed to pull in this little white piece. Well, my little white piece is stuck in, so I was worried maybe my cable's broken. So I pulled on the cable inside and the cable was loose. I thought, oh man. So 2 Phillips screws back here, and you can pull ahead this entire rear piece here, and you can actually see where the cable goes onto. Oh, it's a little bit dark, but the cable is just right in there and right down there. And my cable is fine. It's just that little white piece is stuck. It must have seized up. So I'm just going to spray a bunch of lube onto it and work it back and forth until it hopefully frees up, and then I can actually shut the door and open it properly. So I'm trying to shine the light on it here for you guys, but that's the little mechanism there. All the cable does is just pulls on a little rock shaft and moves the white piece in and out. So that's where I'm going to apply the penetrating oil and work it back and forth. Yeah, you can see it's pretty tucked in here good. Check that out, works like brand new. Smooth and everything. I put a little bit extra lube on this piece so that it can move freely and hopefully it doesn't end up binding back up. I lubed up in here so it doesn't rust again, and now it closes and opens perfectly. Alright, one more thing before we go and take it for a drive together is I've seen online that you can actually, over time, the vehicle loses its throttle pedal like how sensitive it is, because the cable ends up stretching over however many thousand miles, and it ends up loose, so you can't get full throttle, and it also affects just like daily performance driving around, because you have to push the pedal that little bit extra farther to even make it work. So I came up here, and I guess you just check out these cables under here, and I'll show you how to actually check and make sure yours is tight. So here I am at the motor, and you can see there's 3 cables coming in. You have your throttle cables here, and then this one just goes to your cruise control module over there. And you can actually, I would recommend lubing them up, but you back off these nuts on either side, and you can move the cable further away or closer to the desired amount of slack. So see how my cable's got this extra slack here? That's all affecting how much my throttle can actually go wide open. So who knows, maybe instead of going like wide open throttle, I'm only getting 11/16 or 3/4 throttle, who knows. So yeah, I'm gonna try and tighten them all up and then see if it actually adds a little bit more performance. If you do this on your own 4Runner, I am not responsible for extra fuel burnt from you hammering on it more and trying out your power. So yeah, but I'd recommend it to anyone with a 4Runner. All right, now that I got the throttle cables adjusted, I can close the hood, put my hubcaps on, and I'll pull it outside. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. I've done quite a bit of work so far to this thing, and I'm hoping soon I'll be able to bring it in for a safety inspection. I'd like to get a new rear bumper for it, and hopefully I even got a winch bumper I might put on the front. I'm happy with my little hubcaps I put on it, and how my track bars turned out in the rear. So yeah, pretty good day, and hopefully I'll see you next time.